Well, we're live.
Yeah.
This is great. This is the first of many, hopefully many.
Well, it's the first
streams.
we're doing it live. This is
The first time we're doing it live.
We've done a few AMAs now. This is our third Shopify AMA, I believe.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
It'll be
At least,
it's
yeah.
It's definitely our third because we did the one like a couple of years ago. And
Oh,
then,
yes,
And
yes.
then we did
This is
the
number
one
3.
like a couple of months
You're right.
ago. And then
You're absolutely right.
now
This
we're
is
back
the
at number
third.
3 because we worked in 2 this time.
This is the first time the cat is making an appearance.
Yeah.
So he's.
Well, we
Hopefully
like
it'll
the
be
cat.
good.
People like the cat.
The first, we'll I've got some links in front of me here too, so we'll link back and forth to that. So if you do have a question, or if you're joining us on Twitch, if you do have a question, you can just throw it into the chat. We'll also respond to these in the forum thread as well.
Yeah.
Cool. The first one, TSM Co. Always love these AMAs. What kind of marketing makes sense for a digital product to help for the holidays? I sell books, self-help, which aren't always something people would buy for others. I would still like to frame this as something to buy for others, or maybe as a gift to yourself.
So that was a question. It was not.
Yeah.
I would still like to. Is should I? So they said would, but it's should.
Should
I still frame it as something to buy for others, or maybe as a gift to yourself? And that's a really good question. I think it comes down to a few different things. So, number one, I don't know if I agree with the idea that self-help books aren't purchased as gifts.
I mean, I agree.
Because
Yeah.
it really depends on the self-help book.
It depends completely on the topic,
Right, like
of the
if
self-help book,
it's
but
something like really specific and personal, then like you're probably not going to buy that for someone else because that might be an overstep. But if you're talking about like, I knew someone who was going through a rough patch and her friend bought her Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Oh, that's a great book. Yeah, chicken soup.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great book.
And
I had one of those growing up.
And it was, I would argue that fits into the category of self-help books.
It does.
But it was purchased for a gift.
Yes.
And I've seen that exchange happen more than once.
I've seen that. Yeah.
in-
That's a great example.
In business, there's a lot of not self-help books, but like inspirational, aspirational books around how to build, grow, sell a business. And I've seen a bunch of business people buy those books for each other in the past as well, right? So we get recommended Built to Sell all the time.
Built to Sell.
That'd be a perfect example.
Yeah. There's a few of them right behind us, right there. There's a whole bunch of them. So.
So, like, first of all, not knowing specifically what
top.
books
Yeah.
TSM Co is selling, I can't say for certain whether they are something that would be bought as a gift. But I would challenge the idea, without knowing more, that no one's doing it. I think buying self-help books for people to give away is surprisingly common.
I think it's very common.
I've seen more examples in my personal life of people buying self-help books as a gift than people buying them for themselves.
Yeah. I've received far many more myself. Personal finance, business finance, and these are like, under the umbrella of self-help. But like, hey, you're the person that's gifting this to you. You're not in a crisis. You're in a, hey, I want to explore this topic. I want to, like, how many books on the book rack have you seen where it's just like, woodworking for dummies?
Yeah.
Like, that's not right down the rabbit hole of self-help, but it's helping in a specific topic.
Yeah.
It's not nonfiction, or it's kind of nonfiction, but it's not a story, it's not a novel, it's not
Like
Harry
a record
Potter.
of historical events.
It's not someone's autobiography.
Yeah. I mean, so like I was given a copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People years and years ago when I started getting into business. It's
Great book.
Great book.
Great book. It's
Will
completely
help you
self-help.
Learn a lot. But it's I don't want to get into too much of a semantic conversation around what counts as self-help. But I think broadly speaking, there are arguments to be made that people are buying it as a gift. Now that said, we can still answer the core question here. Should you frame it as maybe you're
frame it as something to buy for others, or maybe as a gift to yourself.
Right.
Well,
So like maybe it is something that people aren't likely to buy for someone else. Maybe it is something that they're more likely to buy for themselves.
I'm going to copy this into the chat. This is the question we're answering, so if you're just joining us.
Oh, again,
Yeah.
we want to direct people
Yeah.
from the chat to the forum,
Oh,
not the other way around.
That's right.
So
I'll put the link in chat.
The goal is to get
That's
people
it.
out of the Twitch chat. If
That's
they're
where
showing
we're
up
at.
there.
The
Yeah.
link.
So the question is, should you frame it as a gift for yourself or as a gift to others? I think there's a move here to frame it around asking for it as a gift, if that makes sense, right? Like if there's something you want for you, you might go out and add it to your shopping list and buy it for yourself before Christmas, or before any holiday.
Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday shopping.
But there's a strong argument to be made that when the holiday season comes around, everyone gets told, don't buy yourself anything. Everyone else is looking for things to buy you.
Yes.
So I would potentially run ads around putting it on your holiday wish list.
There's another thing there. There's a very, very good sale opportunity there where you can do like a buy one, get one something % off, where you can actually get one for yourself as well as giving it as a gift.
Yeah.
So you can double up on that for sure.
Especially because this person specifically framed that it's a digital product.
It's a digital product.
So the cost of giving away an extra one
is next to zero.
Yeah.
So like that, the way that you could frame that is, I would absolutely put a promotion in place, and we'll keep it to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But this is like all year round. I would absolutely, if you're going to offer something to someone else through a book, definitely have the opportunity to keep a copy for yourself as well. Big time. And then just so that everyone knows, we are going to be posting these written answers back in the Shopify forum at that link that I just posted. So.
Yeah. So I'm working on typing up an answer to this question in the forum. Do you want to like read in the next one?
Well, we still have a second part to this question.
Sure. Yeah. If you want to start answering the
budget
question.
wise, is it worth it to hop on the Facebook ads train for holidays? Their ads always feel like a money sink rather than anything would pay off. Yeah, this is okay. So this is like right in my wheelhouse. This is Facebook advertising. So I don't want to. It's not a money sink rather than anything would pay off. It's just that's that form of advertising. So in terms of Facebook uses a discovery mechanism. So that's much different than Google. So I'll break down both of them. Google is using a much more targeted audience because they are putting in a search into a search engine saying, books for me, books to give to grandma, books to give to XYZ, books for topic 1, 2, 3. Cool. So there's intent to buy. They already know that you're like there's proven intent saying, hey, they are looking for this topic or for this person. So there's no discovery there. The audience is telling you, the potential customer is telling you what they want. In Facebook, there's less of that search. It's more discovery, meaning an algorithm is trying to understand your audience, and it's saying, well, based on all of the data points I have on this person browsing, I'm going to recommend things in their feed. So whether or not you're just scrolling through timeline, or you're scrolling through Instagram Reels, or you're scrolling through potentially a channel within Facebook, Facebook's trying to position content that it thinks you will like. So if you're targeting, so this is where things can feel like a money sink. If your targeting isn't good, Facebook will be recommending your ads, it will be positioning your ads not targeted very well to a potential audience that will never buy them. So it's very, very nuanced that way. There's two also different pricing models. Facebook charges you what's called a CPM, cost per milli, cost per 1,000 impressions. So it doesn't care if someone buys it, it doesn't care if someone clicked it, all it measures is how many people saw the ad. And typically that's cheaper because it's less intent than Google, which is typically running a CPC, which is cost per click campaign, where the ad could display to 1,000 people, but it only charges you based on when someone clicks the ad. So you're only getting charged for when that customer actually completes that action. Where again on Facebook, they don't have to complete any action. You're just, scrolling through.
Yeah.
So big difference. So if you feel like, again, Facebook is still the biggest, it's the largest social media platform out there based on users, I think based on time on the platform as well. You have to kind of think about, is your audience there? Is the targeting right? I'd be running multiple iterations of that. It's much more complicated. It's way more complicated than running like Google Ads, big time. Because it's not certain that way. So, budget-wise, is it worth it to hop on the Facebook ads? If you don't have any, to finally get to your question, if you don't have any reliable data that you can count on, it's not going to go super well for you because you are just kind of shooting in the dark. Nothing has been optimized, and you'll be advertising at a very expensive time of the year to actually build that data set. So, if you are interested in doing it, I'd start it immediately and start building that up because ads take time to get optimized. And creative takes time to actually work.
Let's talk about the hike in ad costs around the holidays as well.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. So just like everything, supply and demand. When the demand for advertising goes up, the supply stays the same because the same amount of people are using Facebook every day and there's only 24 hours in the day and the usage of Facebook doesn't increase just because it's the holidays. But the demand goes up, supply stays the same. What happens? Prices go up. Prices go up a lot. On top of that, bigger companies will be pushing all of their marketing and all of their ads roll out at the same time because everyone's got a marketing deal. So yes, ad costs can go up like double-digit percentages, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, and then depending in some industries, even higher than that. So it would be industry-specific. But yeah, it can get very, very expensive. So yeah, it can be a big money sink. It can be very costly. You really need to understand your break-even points on how much can I afford to advertise for a product before it's not worth it. So especially if I'm selling a digital product, are they going to come back? What's the cost of customer acquisition? Can I get them to purchase something in the future? Is there more value beyond the first initial purchase? Yeah, really kind of going on from there. But if the cost of acquisition if the break even for that cost of acquisition is one product sale, and you're running a digital product and you're not really the cost of goods sold is rather low because it's a digital product, you're not having to shell out a bunch of money for product packaging and shipping and everything like that, I would be running a very thin margin. I'd be just trying to go, let's get my product into as many hands as possible, build up a social media following, build up website hits, build up my data set, build up email marketing, build all of that up. It's still going to be the most expensive time of year to do that. There's no getting around
historically, we've argued for ramping up your advertising early on and then decreasing or killing your ads in the lead up to the holidays.
Yep.
Because unless you're a really big business, there's just no point in trying to compete with the other massive players in the space. And in every other space as well when you think about it, because you're not only competing with the people in your industry for bids on the clicks specifically related to what you're selling, you're also competing with everyone else just trying to capture general holiday sales. Mm-hmm. I think this also impacts the split in terms of which platform you should be focusing on.
Oh, big time.
So I would make an argument that cost per click search ads are going to be less affected by the increase in holiday ad spend that the market sees across the board than social ads are.
Correct.
Simply because they are more targeted at people who are already in market.
Yep.
Right? Whereas
Yes.
with the social ads, you're trying to capture new customers. There's going to be a lot of people trying to excite those customers with something they haven't thought about in their feeds. And so you're opening yourself up to all that wider competition compared to just advertising within your niche when you're specifically targeting in-market customers with a search ad.
It's also a compounded effect because you're facing against bigger companies that have big marketing budgets where their ad can just blow your ad out of the water. It's going to be funnier, it's going to be flashier, it'll be more direct, they'll have more market research done, where if you're going into the search space, it's a text-based ad. There's not, like you're not competing against someone's, the how funny a 6-second video is. or the production value of that content. So, so definitely, I would steer more towards Google than Facebook. There's still a very large need for Facebook. If you have a new product or something that doesn't get a lot of search because people aren't thinking of it. Well, if the search volume is low, I need this to be discoverable. I want to tell people, hey, you should want this thing. And that's where you need to go into a platform like Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest or TikTok or something like that, where I can get my product in front of people because I know they're not searching for it, but I have a really good idea that they want it, or that they would want it for someone else. So now with the digital product, I don't, and again, without getting too specific, I don't know where it's best to position your specific product, but definitely you have to put some factors in place to actually choose that. But yeah, there's lots of book sales. Like there's lots of digital book sales all over the place. Like we have a physical book coming out really soon, a journal, but and that's primarily going to be sold. Well, it might be at different channels, but yeah, like digital books and physical books. Yeah, there's plenty of places for that. There's one place is really not better than any others, depending on the topic. Great. Aaron just threw up the comment for that. Sweet. Next question.
This is a really interesting one. When it comes to seasonal SEO strategies, should you update your current listings to add keywords such as gift for mother, gift for aunt, gift for grandmother, etc.? I see many people do this and wonder if it's effective, and if so, why? I can't imagine that works very well.
It unless you've done this. So SEO. Let's talk about SEO. SEO, very important tool, but we're talking long time frames. So if you're sitting here now at September 17th and you're saying, hey, I'm gonna change my keywords on my site to start ranking for gift for grandmother. Well, there's not enough time for me to actually even get that ranking properly within the search engine before someone is making their purchase. If you had gift giving guides, if you had collections built out for this, if you have done this year over year because this is your 10th Black Friday, Cyber Monday, yeah, I can see it being very effective. And you're just going to resurface these collections, you're going to put out some more content, but it's already indexed. Yeah, and you're going to make it easier for the shopper, like, yeah, gifts for mom, our top picks for mom, or our top picks for dad. And now that's on your homepage, that's what you're actually promoting. I think there's a lot of value in that. But if you're going to try and be late to the ball on this, especially with those 3 letters, SEO, not a chance. I don't think you've got a chance here.
No, I mean, just the search engines aren't going to pick up the new keywords fast enough to do anything.
No, so you're too late to the ball.
Yeah. Now, that said, it's September. We're talking about
Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which would be in November. So you've got, let's just say, a full 60 days. Let's just say.
Well, and let's take it a step further. Say you're trying to actually think about Christmas sales. Right? Because so this is something that we haven't gotten a question about this, but when we've talked about Black Friday, Cyber Monday in the past on our Shopify webinars that we used to run, one of the pieces of advice we gave was to start your planning and advertising as early as possible.
As early as possible. Yes.
So the further in advance you get a jump on your marketing strategy, the more effective it's going to be. Now, could this SEO strategy work this year? It seems unlikely to me. It seems like we're cutting it close.
Yeah.
But when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When's the second best time to plant a tree? Right now.
You got it.
There's an argument to be made that if you start implementing these keywords and build some SEO around them, it could pay off next year, and the year after, and the year after, and the year after. Like you can start that long-term SEO strategy anytime. The key is, I mean, we were asked about using it as a seasonal strategy. If you're changing it every season, you're just going to be resetting the board on all of that progress every single season, and it's not going to make sense to keep doing.
So there are ways to do it right. So like, yeah, you can tweak it, but like if you want to build out a bunch of like content, written long form content or videos or something like that, gift giving guides are very popular. Excuse me, curated collections of product, and having that in place so that you can use that, I would absolutely do that. I would absolutely do that, especially if you're already generating a significant amount of traffic to the site. Around these holiday seasons, you're going to make the user experience a lot better, so that someone's not having to like use a bunch of filters to find all the gifts for grandma. It's just like, great, you could just have a collection of like gifts for him, gifts for her, gifts for them. There's major companies do that. And then you wouldn't actually even need to turn it off during the off season. You would just make it less visible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the seasonal SEO strategies work. It's just long term. It's very, very long term. So if you plan on being in business longer than, a couple of years, it's well worth your time.
Well, I mean, I think the idea of seasonal SEO strategies is a bit of a misnomer.
It's that, yeah. It's
right? So SEO strategies
SEO
work.
strategies.
Seasonal keywords work if they have a lot of historical use. A seasonal SEO strategy. An SEO strategy is too long term. It's not something that can be adjusted on a seasonal basis.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue typing up the answer to this on the forum.
Right on.
I've seen a few people in the Twitch chat. Do you want, or not in the Twitch chat, but viewers on the stream, do you want to just verbally explain to people how they can participate in this AMA using the Shopify forum?
Yes, I can do that. Yes. So, everyone here is new to this. But yes, this is actually taking place, where all the written answers are actually taking place and where all the questions are being asked is right here. I'm putting a link into the chat right there. This is going to go directly to the Shopify forums. If you click that link and you go to that link and you're able to ask Aaron and I a question, in which case we're going to answer it live on stream here. And then we're also going to provide a written answer for everyone who is not able to join us in real time on the stream on the Shopify forum. So any questions, any marketing related questions or holiday shopping, Black Friday, Cyber Monday questions are welcome. If you've got general marketing, something like that, we're happy to answer that as well. There's no problem there.
Yeah.
We do have some content. Again, there's not everyone is comfortable asking questions, and some people just like to be viewers with this, so that's perfectly fine. We do have a resource that I'd like to bring up, and this is like every Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but this can be used for pretty much any holiday. I'm going to put a link to this. This is a free download that we put out quite a bit. This is to sprintpoint.ca, so this is part of 2H Media. It's just a free download, and it is a guide, and maybe I can actually put this on screen here. How do I do that?
You're not going to be able to because you didn't hook in your screen share.
Oh, that's okay.
I can put it up on my screen.
We're going to give Aaron a second here. We're gonna show this, but essentially it's a guide. It's a to-do. It's a very to-do checklist. We call it a canvas, and it goes through essentially a bunch of steps on how to properly approach Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or really any holiday selling season. Whether it's your first time doing it or it's your 10th time doing it, it's something where you can start recording your notes, and which is cool. It's completely free. So it's just something that we want more e-commerce businesses to take a better approach at, because we get asked all the time, how do I make this better? So, well, what did you do last year? What did your competitors do? What worked? What didn't work? And people often can't remember because it's been a year.
Alrighty.
Yes.
I have replied to that question in the chat.
142.
So I'm going to go ahead and
lovely
bring up the SprintPoint document that you were trying to share.
You got it.
And then in the meantime, when we were chatting with the good folks at Shopify before the call, I believe they said there were some other areas of the forum we might find some good questions in.
I'm looking for those right now.
Excellent. We'll bring that up as well. Black Friday, Cyber Monday Canvas. Okay.
This is a great question. Whoa, infinite screens.
Okay.
Let's go. We're here. That is it. That is it. I put that. We'll put that link into the forums as well.
Yeah.
For everyone.
And there is a well, we'll drop a link shortly to our YouTube channel as well, where the some of our previous Shopify seminars or webinars are hosted, because we did walk through how to use this canvas in a little bit more detail in our previous Black Friday, Cyber Monday stream that we did with Shopify a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it was all evergreen content, so the information hasn't changed too much.
Nope, not at all. So again, this is very beginner friendly. It's expert friendly. It's evergreen. Happy to answer questions about it too. It's a detailed checklist. You should be running one every major holiday selling season that you have, and then just store it. Just store that data for next time. Then you could forget about it. You can go through the craziness that is the holidays, and then you'll be back into it going forward. So I've got another really good question here. This comes from a different part of the forums, but it's e-commerce related. So it's, what sort of professional do I need? Hi, I'd like professional help or guidance on all things website, but I'm not sure what type of professional I need. I built a website, I've read about SEO, I'm using Google Merchant Center, I have social media pages, it's a surprising amount of work. Google Merchant Center, so GMC, was working, but suddenly it has issues with a policy violation, I don't know how to fix it, reviews are activated but grayed out, I've made posts on Facebook a week ago and that's it, but I need a marketing plan. Google SEO, I'm a beginner, I've seen a couple of apps that might be able to help that. Ultimately, I need to drive traffic to my website. It's not happening at the moment, and I don't want to waste time and money on doing wrong. What do I need? An e-commerce manager? I've looked on Fiverr, Shopify experts, but no one seems to cover all the bases. Thanks. So it's a well-rounded question. It's like someone asking for help. They've got a business online, they need help. Where do you go to for help? Which is a pretty open-ended question.
Yeah.
I know where I would start, but I'm gonna. It sounds like they've done a bunch of things to get this off the ground. Any initial thoughts? I've got a bunch. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Well, you should just dive into yours. I mean, I would.
Aaron's smart, so it's normally I'm never putting him on the spot, but
I think they made a good move by starting the Shopify forums.
I think it is a great move too.
Like there's a ton of really good experts on there. If they're engaged in communities like this one, attending AMAs, like that's super effective as well. By posting on the Shopify forum, they may not see this, but their question is being answered live here. You got to click into the top bar to paste
That's
it.
right. That's right.
The question's being answered live here in the stream because they took this to the forum. And that means that a lot of other people are going to get the answer to the question as well. So it's a great place to start. In terms of getting help with their store, I know Shopify has been working on revamping the partner ecosystem.
Yep.
So it's going to be a lot easier to get connected with a Shopify partner than it used to be. It's tricky to find a one-stop shop that is going to solve all of your e-commerce problems at once. It's probably not realistic. So they're asking for professional help and guidance on all things website, and then they're talking about a variety of different things. So they're using Google Merchant Center, they're using Facebook, they're trying to optimize their SEO. They're a beginner. They've seen apps that might be helpful. First of all, the apps are probably the wrong approach. It's going to be very difficult for a merchant to effectively grow their store just by installing apps from the App Store and just letting them run and hoping that the SEO is going to improve, or hoping that the organic traffic is going to increase. Advertising your online store takes a lot of active work, and some things are going to be on you as a business owner because it's not going to be effective to find them out until you have reached a critical mass. So in the early days, there's a lot of networking required. There's a lot of just building your personal network of customers, partners. You're going to see faster, cheaper results leveraging your interpersonal skills than you will trying to just blast the internet with social media content or digital ads. And that's not really something you could hire an individual person for on Fiverr or through Shopify experts. So it's really, really tricky when you're just starting out and trying to grow a store. There's lots of local accelerators that you could try to contact for like advice on how to connect with the right people and what you should be focusing on at any given time. We've done a lot of work with like the Waterloo Region Small Business Center, lots of like different accelerators in the tech space in Toronto and Ottawa. So I would be looking for what are the small business resources in my community that I can leverage to sort of get some guidance and some mentorship early on, rather than just looking to like hire out a marketing agency or a freelancer who's going to come in and run my store for me. Because if they wanted to just run Shopify stores and do all the things that were going to make those stores successful and do all that legwork, they would just be running their own Shopify stores. They wouldn't be offering that as a service.
Yeah. We sat in a great presentation not too long ago, and I'll steal some of that content. We would look at this like a sales funnel. Great, you've got this website, you've got a product. Let's start with the funnel. Let's start with the traditional marketing funnel. Customers come in the top, they find out about your product somehow, and they might be interested. And as they work down the funnel, they're going to know more and more and more about it. And at the end of the funnel, you're hoping that they will give you their money in exchange for your goods or services. We would identify what part of the funnel is broken, what part of the funnel is not working, one step at a time. Are you getting enough traffic to the store? Maybe, maybe not. So are you getting traffic, period? I would start with that. Is the store able to convert? Is there a problem with the way you've laid things out? Is it hard for people to find? Once you get 1,000 people there, has anyone even made a purchase? Great, maybe there's a problem with the store. As we work down and down and down, those problems tend to present themselves. And that's not one specific person that is doing those levels of the funnel. So an e-commerce manager is almost like a business manager. They're not out there, they're more in operations.
Yeah.
Like an e-commerce manager is making sure stuff is fulfilled on time, making sure that the website says that stuff is in stock, updating product listings, things like that. They're not going to be helping you traditionally going out and advertising and putting together a marketing plan and posting things on Facebook and communicating with people on YouTube comments. The marketing manager is an internal resource for primarily logistics. It's a good question though, like where do I actually go for help? You really need to have your problem narrowed down. So we would look at that going, well, let's define some problems, and then sometimes that's us fixing them, and sometimes that's way out of our wheelhouse. We got no problem saying like that's not us.
Yeah.
Great. We're only good at so many things.
I think the key word in this post is it's a surprising amount of work.
It's a surprising amount of work. There's some humility there. I'm actually glad they said that, because everyone else that you'll see online is like, oh, it's easy. Well, it's easy. It's fast. You can do it.
The people trying to like sell e-commerce as a side hustle will tell you how easy it is.
Yes.
And people who don't know what they're getting themselves into will tell you how easy they think it is. A lot of people severely underestimate the amount of work it takes to run an online store.
It's a lot.
It's actually all the work of running a traditional store minus the retail side of things that a lot of people have more experience in.
Yeah, the interpersonal.
Yeah.
Keeping the store nice and sweeping the floor and making sure the open sign is on. Yeah.
And you don't have a storefront. So most people aren't stumbling into your store and discovering your product. You've got to do a lot more active work and active marketing in order to direct people to your business. I used to run a few different chains of restaurants, and one of them that we started up didn't work out. It was a video game lounge, and one of the biggest challenges we had was the wrong location. We opened up on a street that didn't get a lot of foot traffic, and we thought that would be okay because our primary location that my other chain started out of also didn't get a ton of foot traffic, but had really good parking. And the secondary location, so for the location for the video game lounge that had not a lot of foot traffic and a tough parking situation, absolutely struggled to bring in a local audience because we didn't have organic visitors walking down the street, discovering our location, and coming in to have a drink and a good time playing games. When you run an online store, almost every single person who runs an online store is suffering from having a horrible location.
Yes.
Because you don't have a physical storefront. There is no one wandering by your store and discovering what you have available you have to draw those customers in.
That's work.
Aggressively, and it takes a ton of work. And that's on top of all the work required to coordinate with manufacturers, make sure your SKUs make sense, get photography of all your products, list that on the website, be active on social media. Now, this particular person said that they have social media pages, and it's a surprising amount of work. This might come as a surprise. We often don't encourage a social media strategy when we help small businesses go online. And the reason for that is if you're not already living and breathing Instagram and TikTok and
YouTube, pick a platform.
If you're not already tuned into these platforms and you know how to get the content out there in front of a lot of people and you're excited to engage with those platforms, it's going to be very difficult for you to break into that as a business owner and as a newcomer. And it's going to be very cost prohibitive to try to outsource that to an agency or a freelancer because there's so much work involved in maintaining that social media presence.
Yeah. We'd much rather you go to a trade show.
Yeah.
We'd much rather you build up a wholesale network. We'd much rather you do something where you can use your interpersonal skills that aren't digital.
So to that point, let's bring this back to the forum. We've got a great question in the AMA thread from VIB1. I have a local gift box company where sales are very seasonal and peak during Christmas. Most customers are purchasing as a gift for someone else. With rising shipping costs, I'd like to pivot towards doing more of the larger corporate orders, companies buying holiday gifts for their clients, brokers, employees, etc. Any advice for targeting the people in charge of making these decisions? Executive assistants, office managers, founders, etc. It feels too narrow of an audience for Facebook AdWords targeting, or Facebook/AdWords targeting, but I could be wrong. We have a few thoughts on that.
Oh, I got tons of thoughts. I'm gonna jump right in here. Okay, great local gift boxes, very viable business. So first off, great. Obviously, that's going to peak during specific parts of the year. Great. Those relationships that you need can be cultured at any point of the year. So the need does not need to be there for you to go and build those relationships. I'm going to jump right to your last sentence. It feels too narrow of an audience for Facebook AdWords targeting, but I could be wrong. I wouldn't use Facebook AdWords targeting to Facebook/ or Google AdWords targeting to do this. I would go right into LinkedIn. I would use the search functionality in LinkedIn, and I would type in executive assistants, and I would go and connect with every single executive assistant in a 50-kilometer radius.
Yeah.
And then I would go and say, great, I would find all of those job titles, because on LinkedIn, the great targeting tools on LinkedIn, you don't need to pay for premium LinkedIn, you don't need Sales Navigator, you don't need to give LinkedIn any money. I would go in there and I'm trying to connect with the decision makers that you've laid out there. So that's and again, LinkedIn's got its own, people have their own opinions on LinkedIn. This is the perfect place for this. So anything B2B related, larger corporate orders, companies, gift buying, I want to connect with a person, a buying manager, an office manager, an executive assistant, a founder, pick a thing. I don't know if those are the right people yet. You'll find that out doing your research, connecting with these individuals, but that's where I'd go. So you have your targeting. You have them. I'm looking for a specific job title. You'll end up needing to refine that to make sure that's the right one, but you have the job title. That's too specific for Facebook or AdWords. You can't, that's not going to go well. LinkedIn, it's going to work perfectly. It's going to work absolutely perfectly. There are advertising channels through LinkedIn where you can advertise specifically to executive assistants. Obviously, that costs money. You're going to have to build some ads. You're going to have to create some creative. You can do that on there, but you can select, I only want my ads to be seen by executive assistants in 100-kilometer radius around, pick a city. Yep, can do. So, perfect. LinkedIn's still a huge audience. There's like 700 million people on LinkedIn, and if you're selling overseas, it'll be a little different. But North American audience, huge. So LinkedIn would be the place to go for that, and that is going to be more long-term sales. Those are based on a relationship. So those relationships take time to build. It's not as quick as, hey, I'm gonna now suddenly order 75 gift boxes out of the blue. That might happen once or twice, but I would definitely be looking at I would definitely be looking at building that relationship over time. I've seen this work time. I can't even count the companies I've seen this work for, where they start a tradition and it evolves over time and it has nothing to do with what was originally offered. Sometimes these businesses want something a little bit more custom in these boxes. They want to include their own like handwritten notes. You're going to have to be a little bit flexible there. But these will be larger orders.
Yeah.
And money talks. So, and again, that relationship should happen every single year. So yes, and that's just good business. And this is true of other people not selling gift boxes as well. If you think you've got a B2B related product where a company could be giving your product as a gift, as a token of appreciation, or some kind of reward for meeting a milestone, something like that, I would be connecting with these people on LinkedIn and bringing that to their attention. We've seen this from like everyone, from yoga instructors doing this so that they could come in and do workshops, to facilitators for workshops and seminars, to people building food, catering companies, you name it, product or service. Connect with those people because the company is going to provide a good experience, trying to provide a good experience to their employees, period, as well. And I would don't be afraid to approach an insurance company. Like they're just people there. Like it's like, great. Do you have the capacity to do 1,000? Great.
You said something really important as well. You have a local gift box company. Now I'm taking that to mean that you sell local products.
That's how I'm reading that as well. Yeah.
And that's a huge selling point for companies that are headquartered in your area. You're going to have a much easier time building relationships with these companies and selling those gift boxes than you would if you were trying to sell, generic corporate gifts that are the same things you could buy on Vistaprint.
Okay.
Right? Because those companies are more likely to be looking to support local and use that as part of their positioning and their brand messaging. I've having worked with a lot of local producers, it's not uncommon for large corporations to go directly to, like the local maple syrup producer looking for bottles to give away at their events that are directly from that local company. So if you can position yourself as a bridge between these larger corporations and the local producers and take on a lot of the legwork required for them to go and source these people and build the orders, I think there's room there for
big time
taking over a portion of that market.
I know who you're talking about. We've got some big players, and this is what they do. They don't want to do this themselves. They want to pay for it. The executive assistant's got too many things on their plate to begin with. They want to just provide a good experience, and as long as it fits their budget and is on brand, they're going to go for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So lastly, any advice for targeting those people? One, play around with who the decision maker is in the purchasing. So we need the first point of contact, and then the ultimately the decision maker who's actually able to put a credit card down or a purchase order down. Two different people potentially. That's going to take some finessing. You still should connect with a whole whack ton of people in your local audience that are running these companies. So I would be putting together a strategy going, I need to connect with 10 new people every day on LinkedIn that fit my buyer persona. We're going to bring up a buyer persona when Aaron's done typing that you should fill out to keep at the ready. And you should be doing this every day. I'm trying to build my network a little bit every day. And it's bringing the social back to social media. I just want to go be social. I want to go connect with these people, and I want to have a one-to-one conversation with them. Yeah. I'm not interested in building a bunch of content and videos and slides and anything like that. I want to. Who is is it Jim Smith, the executive assistant or the office manager, whoever it is? I need to know. I need to know what their values are and how I can be what fits into them. So and the only way you're going to know that is go talk to them. Big time. But very profitable idea. You will build relationships. Your competitors are not going to be able to get in between that. It's very, very important to do. And then you'll get repeat orders over and over and over and end up being a key supplier. So very cool.
A good friend of mine was an executive assistant for a time. And a lot of the a big part of that job is being a gatekeeper, right? You're trying to keep the real decision makers from having to deal with, frustrating companies with poor sales pitches, just wanting to eat up all of their time and capture a bunch of sales. And often the companies that she would allow to speak to the leaders in the organization she worked with were those that were consistent in their communication but not pushy in their sales. So they just regularly reached out just to stay in the loop, stay on the radar of the company. They were friendly, they were polite. They didn't get aggressive with their sales pitch or try to scream about the value of the deals. They just had a good product. Yeah. They stayed persistent, and they built relationships over time.
Send a Christmas card. Do something that's not salesy, that just positive touch points over and over and over. Build that trust. Because again, they're probably not in the market anyways. They're probably not oh, we need a gift box right now for 55 employees. No, but when that time comes, I want you to be the first person that they think of because you've got that track record. We have a quick question in the stream chat here. And I don't know if this is the right fit, but came across this page while looking for something else in the Shopify Help Center. I realize now that this is all about marketing, but I was wondering if you could direct me to an expert who has been successful and based in New York. I'm concerned about how the cost of acquisition and other taxes work as a seller in New York. It's currently hindering me from starting a Shopify store. Going through the NYS tax department is extremely daunting and exhausting, and quite frankly, I don't have that kind of time. Yeah, you are going to need to hire a local tax expert in New York, for sure.
Yeah.
We're not based in New York. We tell everyone the same thing. Your taxes are important. This isn't a complicated thing, though. This is how every business that's legally operating in New York has figured this out. This is not a novel idea. Every single other person that, again, is doing things legally has gone through the same steps. So you might actually be able to find some information on what tax codes are needed. You probably have a local business center in New York somewhere. There's probably a local government office that will provide you some information on how much you should be charging based on the products you're selling, or if they're tax exempt, or if they're not. If you're selling food, there can be some, right? So you're gonna have to go and find that out. But again,
what do you think COA stands for in this context?
I think it's cost of acquisition.
That was my initial instinct as well.
Cost of acquisition and other taxes. Well, one, the taxes are paid by your customer.
Well, I'm not sure if that's or charter of accounts potentially as well could be the other one.
Oh, it could be charter
because they're talking about accounting, right?
About how the chart of accounts and other taxes.
Certificate of authority. See, I haven't even heard of that.
Oh, good. What are you selling? Are you a reseller? Are you making a product?
Yeah.
Great question. Home decor.
Okay.
Home decor. Give me a second. Sorry, assures you they're authorized to do business in a state other than the one. Yeah. So we're based in Canada.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work in Canada. You don't need a certificate of authority in Canada. And again, this is coming from not a lawyer, not an accountant, but we work with a ton of people that do business all over North America. Especially in Canada, and you don't need a certificate of authority to sell product in Ontario or in BC, or you need to have the rights to sell the product. It needs to be yours.
Yeah, depending on what you're doing, you might need a master business license, which I imagine is similar. We can't talk about the certificate of authority because it's not our realm. But so let's go back to the chat so we can actually see the question again.
Yeah, home decor reseller is a pain in the arse.
Yeah. The U.S. taxes are way more complicated than Canadian taxes.
Yeah.
In some ways, the way you guys handle your sales tax is actually a little easier than the way Canada handles sales tax. At least with the U.S. companies I've worked with. But understanding the tax codes on a state-by-state basis is a real challenge. Did you start as a traditional brick and mortar, or are you trying to launch into the e-commerce space? Is it drop shipping, or do you make the products locally? What's the business like?
Reseller, but
it's a reseller.
Reseller.
Yeah.
So you're importing product and maybe selling it or getting it from another state. That's fine.
Haven't started it. You were looking into it. Yeah. It's It's tough. So we were talking about this like a little while ago. Most e-commerce newbies really underestimate the amount of work it's going to be required to run an e-commerce store. It's probably going to take way more of an initial investment than you might be thinking. You want to get the legalities down first. Yeah, that makes sense to me. And this is where like the unfortunate answer is we would be looking at securing an accountant and a lawyer before we ever build out the online store.
Yep.
And that's how pretty much all of our customers do it. That's how we would do it ourselves if we were launching a store. And we would dot our I's and cross our T's and make sure all the laws are going to be followed correctly before we ever launched in. That's really the only way to do it. Without being a legal expert yourself.
Don't be a legal expert yourself. You're not making any money doing that. You want to sell furniture? I would go and ask your personal network, or I would go into LinkedIn, or I would go and say, I'm going to try and find 3 recommendations on a good lawyer, and then I'd go interview them. I would go talk to them for 10 minutes and figure out if they're the right fit, and I would do that. The same thing with the same thing we did with our lawyer, same thing we did with our accountants. They're great. We just didn't look up the yellow pages and get account. No, we got some recommendations. We talked to some people. We met them. Then we decided to engage. So don't expect that they are going to give you all of their information for free, but like you need to go and find out, are they going to be a good fit to work with you on your terms? Is it affordable? Are they actually able to help you? But yeah, go and find those 2 experts for sure. And again, starting a business does cost some time, lots of time, and at least some money.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you shouldn't be talking tens of thousands of dollars here. It might be $1,500 with a lawyer. It might be $1,500 with an accountant. You don't need to go any more extreme than that to get these answers solved.
Ultimately, I wouldn't be concerned about how the taxes work, and I'm like cherry picking the words you used in the question a little bit. You want to understand how the taxes work, but at the end of the day, once you know it, now it just becomes part of your pricing equation.
Yep.
Right, you've got to price your product in such a way that you still make enough money to continue running what you're trying to run after the taxes are paid, and that's true everywhere in the world. Understanding that information in the first place, that's going to come down to coordinating with the right legal experts, which is just a big upfront cost that most people who are saying to go start an e-commerce business aren't telling you about.
Yeah. No guru online is saying, hey, they say it's easy and it's fast, you'll be making money right away. It's like, well, there's a whole bunch of things that need to happen first.
Yeah.
And these are 2 of those things.
So if you have unlimited budget, which you probably don't, but if you do, go hire a lawyer and an accountant and get all this figured out and then launch your store. If you don't have unlimited budget, I would be starting by looking for what small business resources are available in your community. That could be a small business enterprise center. It could be an accelerator. The Google search I would be making is Small Business Center, New York, or whatever city you're in within New York, and seeing if there's someone you can talk to, some small business advisor you can talk to, who will help you lay out a business plan and figure out if this model makes sense before you start making purchases and you're on the hook for actually trying to rake back whatever initial investment you've made in the business.
Typically those resources can be found at City Hall, but it's different everywhere.
Yeah.
I know in Ontario there's typically governments, municipal governments want people to start businesses because businesses mean taxes and taxes mean jobs.
Yep.
And that's part of their incentive.
In Canada, there's a really strong small business network where if you want to start a small business or have just started a small business, there are government-funded programs to help you figure out how to do it.
Yep.
I know that some states have small business centers as well.
Yep.
I don't believe it's across the board because your country is a lot bigger with a much more complex system of organization because you've got like 50 states as opposed to our tiny number of provinces.
Yeah.
So I would be looking and seeing if those resources exist in your area and start there before you pay someone for the information.
But yeah,
if you can find it for free, that's the best thing to do.
So back up to your question, I was wondering if you direct me to an expert. A Shopify expert's not going to help you here.
Yeah.
You're not looking for a Shopify expert. The Shopify experts can help you with marketing, website design, conversion rates. They're going to help you with like some operational things maybe as well, but not if they're claiming to also do like tax, red flag. Hire the right person for that. Just like your lawyer will not tell you how to work your social media and build your website, go right to them. So yeah, small business network. I would also try and find a mentor.
Yeah.
someone in the city that you can talk to once a month, 30 minutes, something like that you can bounce questions off of. And this is kind of just general advice for people starting out. Go and find someone that you look up to that's got some level of expertise. People like being mentors. Well, some people like being mentors. That you can get 30 minutes worth a month. That will point you in the right direction, connect you.
Now,
to
on
people.
the Shopify side of things, if you post this question in the Shopify forums and you ask if anyone in your area has successfully, navigated the tax codes in the area you're trying to sell in, there's a very good chance that you can get connected to the right people through that portion of the forum. But I would expect it to come with a price tag. Which is why I'm saying the first place I would start is seeing if there's free resources available in your community.
I will give you a link right now, and I'm sure you'll find this yourself. There is a accounting and taxes thread within the forum, within Shopify, that is specifically for that. And again, that's global. This is a global forum, so this is going to be Canadian, this is going to be US, UK, all over the place. But that's the place that you could ask that question. And there is still a chance that someone from Shopify will jump in and say, hey, yeah, I'm a rep in New York. They're really good. Shopify is really, really, really good at helping people point in the right direction. I just don't think it's a Shopify expert that's actually going to solve your problem. They just might be able to be a little bit of a compass for you.
Yeah, well, it might be a merchant helping you find the right information or connect to the right people.
Yeah.
But
nobody mentions the legal jargon online. I'll start with the Small Business Association. Yep. Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Glad you found that helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. Yeah, we're decent at telling you the things that we don't know. That's we don't know. Yeah, but yeah, no, this is part of being in the Shopify community. We're a bunch of entrepreneurs sharing information online, which is really, really cool. So I would love for you to keep in touch with us as that goes on. So if you definitely want to send an email later on, I'll drop my email right here, because I'd love to see how you make out in the future. Mm-hmm. There's my email. Yeah, super cool. We do a lot of work in the home decor space, believe it or not. We help some pretty cool brands sell couches and furniture and lawn furniture and all kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, we're not tax experts. We're assuming you've got that covered.
Well, we don't usually assume it. We usually ask them if they've got it covered.
I would absolutely love to watch your progress. Yep, that's no problem at all. That's no problem. We do that quite a bit. Part of the fun in being in our shoes.
I'm keeping an eye on the AMA thread.
Right.
I'm not seeing any new questions on this side.
Should I find a different question from the e-commerce marketing thread?
Yeah,
I can do. Without getting too. We're gonna see Facebook ads conversion.
I do see one from the e-commerce marketing thread.
Yeah,
it's in the doc.
Oh, cool. Oh, okay. Let's pull this up.
So we see this one all the time. This is not really holiday related, but it is a good marketing question. Has anyone noticed a big drop off from the add to cart step to the checkout step? According to my Shopify conversion report since a few months ago, the number of checkout / number of add to cart has dropped from 90% to like 40%. I've looked hard to see if my website has any performance issues, but my Google Site Speed score hasn't changed much. There haven't been big changes made on my website. Is anyone seeing a similar problem?
There could be a bunch of things going on here. Cool.
Yeah.
A few months ago.
Usually, it's a shipping problem.
Yeah.
Like 9 times out of 10.
Yep.
If people are making it to the cart, and Matt, can you drop this link into the chat as well, because it's the different Shopify forum thread?
Yes. Yes.
Because then anyone who's in the chat and wants to go see the original question can follow along a little more easily as well.
I can't do that.
Yeah, usually if people are making it to your cart and then not actually converting, it means they don't like the shipping price, or you don't ship to their location. And there's a bunch of reasons why that can be happening. without going and looking at the specific store in mind, it's hard to diagnose exactly why it's an issue.
This is where we got the question from. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, so anyone who wants to go read the original question, it's in the chat. Doesn't look like it's seen any replies yet, so we can drop a reply to this as well.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, usually this means that there's an issue with the shipping, and it could be a number of things. So it could be that maybe your advertising net is cast really wide, and you're capturing a bunch of traffic to the site from people in areas you don't ship to, and they're making it to the cart page, finding out you don't ship to their location, and then leaving. This happens to me all the time as a Canadian shopper. It's not uncommon, even in 2024, for U.S. companies not to ship to Canada. And
super common, which is crazy.
Right. I mean, we're right here, and I get the Canadian shipping is not the same as U.S. shipping. But it'd be nice to, even if I have to pay more for the shipping, which I expect as a Canadian, it would be nice to still be able to make the purchases.
Yeah.
But it's not uncommon for me to look for something online and get all the way to the checkout page before I realize they don't ship to Canada. So that's one reason people could be bouncing.
Yep.
Another reason is just the cost of shipping. You know, most people expect free shipping in 2024, or at the very least flat rate shipping. If your shipping prices are exorbitantly high, or not even necessarily exorbitantly high, but high enough to be annoying, that could cause a massive bounce rate, and could mean that you're simply not communicating your shipping rates well enough. Like if you're still using dynamic shipping rates and you're charging like hundreds of dollars to ship to random locations for big heavy products, a lot of people are just going to get scared off and they're not going to make that purchase based on the shipping rates, and there's nothing you can do but find a way to offer flat rate shipping.
Yep.
Often if you're offering flat rate shipping or shipping breaks at certain values or quantities and those aren't explained well, people will reach the checkout page, see the shipping, and bounce.
Super common.
Right? So like even for companies that have decent flat rate shipping progressions, it's not uncommon not to explain that anywhere. And so you're surprising people when they reach the checkout who might have turned into a customer if they understood that you offer free shipping on orders over $100, and they're sitting at $98 in the cart. They're more likely to go buy something to push them over that $100 limit than to go and pay whatever the shipping cost is.
Way more. I would happily add another $15 to save $15, big time. So, so part of this question, but my Google site speed score hasn't changed much. There, I wouldn't think it could be site performance. It would be rare, but it could be.
I would be shocked if site performance had anything to do with people not making it past that. Like if they've already added the product to the cart, a lot of things are going right.
Yeah.
This is typically like the only real variable that the merchant controls between those 2 points is the shipping.
So typically, shipping. Shipping is a big one. It sounds like it's a communication issue where they're just not being upfront about what the processes are, what the practices are. There could be other stuff, but like it's way too nuanced. You'd have to actually take a look at what's going on. Is it a specific time of year? Is there a new competitor that is now stealing traffic from something else? Is there a cheaper alternative that's now in market? Rare things. It's good that they're checking out. Like there's a big plus here. Paying attention to your reports in Shopify is important. So keeping an eye. So if they're like according to the Shopify conversion report since a few months ago, I would also go back and saying, are we talking apples to apples? Are we looking at the same information? I can trust the reports are accurate, but great, am I looking at the same thing? The number of checkout, number of add to carts has dropped from 90%. 90% is a crazy conversion rate.
Yeah.
Also, like to checkout to add to cart is dropped from 90% to 40. 40% conversion rate on a website is unheard of, let alone 90.
Yeah.
That's insane. So like, there's some things going on there that are always like, how do you have a 90%? How are you achieving those things? Because those aren't realistic. We would never tell a business, oh yeah, once something. Someone actually goes to the site, like they're gonna 90% of the time they're gonna actually make a purchase or add something to cart. That's insane. Like I'm expecting a fraction of that. So And even like fell off a cliff to 40%. 40% is still huge. 40% is crazy. So I would still be treating it as a big win, but paying attention to why that number has changed is important. But no changes made on the site. Yeah, so it's probably not a performance issue. It could be a price change, something to do with shipping. An app might not be working correctly.
Yeah, that's a good
an
question.
app might be. There might have been an update in an app or something like that. That's kind of making it a wonky experience. The only other thing that I could potentially think of, like the big change recently, would be like ad blockers, but that doesn't affect anything.
On them, no.
But like it could be an app. It could be an app not doing something properly, and now it's breaking.
So like a big troubleshooting step would be like, have you been through your checkout process yourself?
On mobile, on desktop, on a different device. Ask a friend or family member to go through it.
Yeah.
Get different eyes on it to see if there actually is a break in the system, because there could be. But has anyone else noticed a big drop off? That won't be a Shopify wide problem. That won't be like, hey, there's a bunch of people affected by that, unless it's like an app that is now going down and people that are using the app, like the review widget is broken, or the dynamic shipping pricing is all wonky or something.
Yeah, like if you're
that.
using a shipping app and it's not firing, that's
a huge problem.
That could absolutely cause an issue.
Yeah.
So we do have another great question in our in the main forum thread.
Yeah.
It's actually a series of questions.
A series of questions.
Well, it's one question by Jack Dan
Miguel.
Sure. So how far in advance should I be planning for holiday marketing? Should all my marketing for the year build to the holidays in November, December? Does the classic free marketing suggestions, SEO, blogs, posting on socials actually help for the holidays?
There's a bunch here.
Like I said, there's like three questions in there.
So first one, how far in advance? We've asked that since one before, like best time to plant a tree. It should be part of your overall marketing strategy.
Yeah.
And I would be looking at this a little bit more fragmented. If 95% of your sales typically come through the holiday time, I'd be giving it 95% of my time. So if you sell a very seasonal product, that's when people are looking for it, because you sell snow shovels and that's when people buy snow shovels, is when it's about to snow. I would be putting a lot of effort into that. And I wouldn't be planning that out in May when no one needs a snow shovel. I would be looking at going, well, maybe I do my planning in May, but I do all my launches in November, December, depending where you are. So very dependent on the product you sell, very dependent on the type of shopper that is your potential customer. Having more time, especially for an entrepreneur, so how far in advance? Having more time is an asset. It's huge. Having more time, getting things done early. Yeah. I mean, we were all children at one point, and lots of us waited to the last minute to do our homework, and then you would stress about it, whatever. It was much more simple to just do the homework when you got it and got it done, and then moved on with life. So how far in advance should you be doing it? You should be doing it when you have time to do it, to create more time for another opportunity that can present itself later on. Big time. And if you have extra time, and you can devote more time to your marketing, great. You should get a better result out of that. More time should yield better results. Should all my marketing for the year build up to the holidays in November, December? That depends. Potentially, again, if your product is selling, gifts for dad, funny dad socks or ties or something like that, and that's when all your product, it should build up. If you are a store that sells pens and pencils, I would be gearing up to a different holiday. I'd be gearing up for back to school. I'd be gearing up for a different event. I would be looking for something that's not feast or famine. So if I don't get a crazy big holiday selling year, I don't want my business to fail. I need consistent growth, whether that's 1% or 2%, whatever that is. I need to be consistent. I want to not have the roller coaster. Entrepreneurship is already a roller coaster. I want to remove as much of that roller coaster as possible that you have control over. Period. So if the build to the holidays makes sense, then yes. If it doesn't make sense, I'd say absolutely not. It's too many eggs in one basket. Does the classic free marketing suggestions, so like the SEO, blogs, posting on social media, actually help for the holidays? We'll break those things down a little bit. SEO and blogs are a little bit different than the social media, but SEO and blogs are, again, long-term strategy. So again, if you want to consistently do that, and that's part of your marketing budget, your time budget, yeah, I'd be creating that, and I'd be giving gift giving ideas, top 10 trends that you want to do for Christmas 2024, things like that. You have to build into over and over and over again. And those classic free, I love how it's in exclamation marks. It still takes time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're important to do if it fits the brand.
I mean, they're some of the most expensive things you can do in marketing.
They
if
are.
you want to do them effectively.
Yep.
Right. So like the idea of creating SEO content and blogs, that just takes a massive amount of work. The content creation is huge. If you do it internally, it's going to eat all your time. If you outsource it, you're going to be paying massive recurring fees.
Yep.
The same goes for the social media content, right? Like if you're already living, breathing social media, and it's the most natural thing in the world for you, and it doesn't feel like work for you to build out your business on socials, then that's the most effective marketing you should be doing.
Because to your advantage.
If you're already good at it, leverage that advantage. If it feels like a struggle, it's going to be a struggle. And if you try to outsource it, it can be effective, but it's going to be expensive, and it's probably still going to require a lot of your involvement. Yep. Like capturing social media content is not an organic process. It's a long, highly micromanaged process that requires a lot of involvement from the faces of the company. So do the classic free marketing suggestions help? Yeah, they absolutely help.
Yep.
If you've built a following on social media. If you've built a backlog of SEO content that is gaining you long-term evergreen traffic. If you have made the right connections where your blog posts are being featured on other people's websites that already have a ton of traffic. There's just so many ifs there. Yeah, they can absolutely be effective. They're just really difficult to build to a point of effectiveness and typically pretty expensive.
Yes, long-term plays.
Yeah.
You got to think really long-term on those.
We haven't really touched on this in this Q&A, but one of the best things you can do for increasing your holiday sales is build an audience that you control early on during the less competitive times of year, and then remarket to that audience as the holiday season approaches. Mm-hmm. So we've talked about decreasing your ad spend as the holidays ramp up, because it doesn't make any sense to compete with the other companies that are also bidding on those ads. But you should at the same time be ramping up your email marketing to everyone who's already in your audience, because you control that network. And it doesn't cost you any more to send a marketing email before the holidays than it does any other time of year. So the rest of the year, your marketing efforts should be going towards building up that network that you control. And then the closer you get to the holidays, the more you should hammer and hammer and hammer that network with fantastic holiday deals and offers to really get them past the finish line.
So like a perfect example of that is a blog. Most people write and then it gets seen by no one. They write it, it's a great blog post, it has all the information in it, and it gets posted, and then it does nothing. If you've got an email audience, that blog should be now going out to those 3,000 subscribers. And there's still not all 3,000 are going to read it, but I'm going to get a 40% conversion rate or a 25% conversion rate where I'm going to get 700 eyeballs on that blog post immediately. I do not want to build a bridge to nowhere. And most blogs are a bridge to nowhere. It's a great information that serves no one. No one's coming for it, no one needs it. Probably too salesy. And then you have to think about, this is the other thing that you're competing against, would be there's a million other people doing the gift guide for mom.
Yeah.
There's you're never ranking page 1 for that. It's just not going to happen. You're competing against everyone, because that's the easiest thing that anyone can write about, and they're just writing about themselves. So you have to go back into what do people actually need? What is the actual need? So yeah, they're trying to find a gift for mom, but what does that gift need to do? For what type of mom? So the more specific you can get, great. So I love the fact that free is in quotation, because there's no free lunch out there. Everything's going to take time. And I want the business owner, especially if you don't have a bunch of resources, you need to stick to your strengths.
Yeah.
You have to stay in your lane, stick to your strengths. There's no, I mean, if I could sell you the little switch that makes you go from page 40 to page 1, I would sell that switch all day long, but it doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. There's no magic SEO button. There's no magic, we'll use ChatGPT to make a bunch of blog posts. It doesn't work like that. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So yeah, as far in advance as possible. If I'm marketing, you should build to the holidays. Depends on the brand, depends on the product. I'm sure you've got some product categories that will be building for the holidays. Like, you're gonna have whatever. If you're a clothing company, you're gonna get whatever the holiday themed, Christmas pajamas. Yeah, you're gonna need to do some specific product marketing. But
well, so the question was, should all my marketing for the year build to the holidays?
No.
And unless that's all you like. If that's what you sell, like if you know that 90% of your sales are going to come during the holidays,
then yes, you better.
Yeah, but for everyone else, you should be starting you should know your marketing plan for the year at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Like, figure out in January what your whole year looks like. Set milestones for when you need to figure out the specifics, and then meet those milestones. So for your holiday marketing, you need to be planning it out in the summer, and then
that's what we're doing.
Ready to execute once we get into the fall and winter.
So, and again, time's your friend.
Yeah.
But good question. Great question. The other thing there too is, like, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like, it's going to be your first holiday selling season. It's not going to be perfect. We want to reduce the amount of mistakes we carry forward, and then refine the strengths over and over and over. Right on. I'm going to go look for another question.
Right on. I'm just typing up a quick response to that in the forum.
Yeah. We are going to
And then if you don't find anything right away, I'm sure there's some like general Black Friday, Cyber Monday / holiday marketing stuff we could chat on.
Decent one here, and then we'll do some general stuff after that. We do the general stuff first. There's so many questions about Google Shopping, and that's a whole thing.
I'm enjoying this format where we like pull answers from different parts of the forum as well.
Yeah.
And having the Twitch chat has been really nice too, for the couple of like on the fly back and forths.
So let's talk really briefly about some things that should be set up. Just general business things that should be set up on your website before a major selling season. And I'll start the conversation with, great, you've got a Shopify store. I assume everyone here is either thinking about a Shopify store or already is running one. There's some additional technology that you'll need to get the best results out of that. And typically that's either in the Facebook ecosystem or the Google ecosystem. So one of them is called Google Search Console. Google Search Console is a free piece of technology offered by Google that shows where your website ranks in the SERPs. As SERPs is S-E-R-P, which is the search engine results pages. So what that means is your website exists on the internet. Google will show where your website ranks, what page and position your website ranks when a specific keyword is typed into search. Very important to know. So you need to have Google Search Console set up on the site ahead of time. It's not retroactive. And it will show where your site ranks based on a specific search term. There will be search terms that you are going to want to rank for, but that you don't currently. And that's where I would be building out more content around those to actually bring those to a higher level. So Google Search Console is very, very important. Google Analytics. So Google Search Console happens before someone has gone to your site, and it's just general searching. Google Analytics happens after someone has gone to your site. What pages they've viewed, how much time they've spent, where they came to you from. Again, it's a free piece of technology from Google. It's just a bunch of information around what pages are bringing in the traffic, so we knew what keyword you ranked for, but now what page are they actually landing on? Is it the home page? Is it the about? Is it collection page number 1, 2, 3? Very important to know. That's also not retroactive. So you're going to need to have analytics running ahead of time. There's a third piece of Google technology called Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager tracks the conversions that happen on your website. We want to track those. That's what we want to measure. How many people, how many times are we getting someone to convert into our social media, or convert into signing up for email marketing, or convert into adding something into cart? There's more calls to action than just adding something to cart on a website. I want the social media following. I want the review. I want a whole bunch of additional things. So having Google Tag Manager set up is very, very important, especially if you are running Google Ads, regardless of what type of Google Ads you're running. Very, very important, because Google will then measure, great, this is a conversion, we want more of those, the algorithm starts kicking in, cool. Typically, we bring those three pieces of technology into a report so that you get this potentially daily. That's like, great, where does my website stand in terms of performance? On top of that, you should be looking at your the Shopify analytics as well. So the reports and things that come out of Shopify, very, very important. In the realm of Facebook, yeah, you're going to need your Facebook pixel set up if you're doing Facebook advertising. Very, very important to have that set up as well. It's not retroactive. So beyond the store's performance, we want to have all of the analytics available too, so when we are actually making a decision on the site, we're not actually using our gut, we're using something beyond, hey, I've just got a feeling. So if you're selling a product, there's a, beyond a digital product, if you're selling an actual physical product, there's a fourth piece of Google technology called, it's called Google Merchant Center, and that's really to enable you to sell through Google Shopping. And that can be very, very profitable. It's a different set of advertising that's offered through Google. And you can find that just by going to Google and typing a product, and typically you'll go right into their shopping portion of the SERPs. And these things can be a little tricky, but once they're solved, they're typically solved. Oh, we have another question. Oh, Shopify store feedback. Right on. Let's read this one out. This is good.
Sure. If that'll be a forum thread, one of the other forums.
Yes, I'm gonna go find this.
And then you'll drop that link in the chat.
You got it.
Right on.
Great. Here's where we're going next. I'm reaching out for some advice and guidance on how to better market my store. I started in 2022, and sometimes of giving up, but I've not yet. We specialize in women's apparel and are currently offering free shipping on all orders for a limited time. I'm looking for strategies to increase engagement and start more conversations with potential customers, both online and offline. If you have any recommendations on how to boost brand visibility, drive traffic to our website, or engage our audience more effectively, I'd love to hear from them. Any tips on social media, email marketing, or even offline tactics would be greatly appreciated. Cool. So yeah, we have tons of, awareness is really, really important. Cool. So, female clothing brand, selling online, offering free shipping for a limited time. Cool. Let's just lay out the cards here. Female apparel, very saturated market. There's a lot of online stores selling clothing. Some of the biggest brands in the world sell clothing. So you are in a very competitive market. You're not selling something niche. I'd have to look at your store to see if there actually have any niche components. Is it like super eco-friendly, made of alpaca, whatever. So if you've got a niche that you can tack onto that, that can be very, very beneficial. So like we sell women's apparel for a thing. Great. I want it to be more specialized. So we specialize in women's apparel is not really a specialty. It is like this. It is like the most general. Half the population on the planet is women. Half the population on the planet is men. You have not carved out enough of your niche yet. So we specialize in women's apparel. So I want you to be more specific. Is it athletic apparel? Is it casual wear? Is it stuff that's for the office? What is it? I want to be, the brand needs to be known for something. And the more refined we can get, the better we can do with our targeting. So you're looking for strategies to increase engagement and start more conversations with potential customers, both online and offline. Well, great. I want to really refine who we're talking to. What are our values? What are their values? They need to match. Because if we're not getting people to the store, if we have low brand visibility, if we have low traffic, it means we are not being seen because we have not appealed to them enough for even a click to take place. From the look of the store, the photography looks great.
Yeah.
Right? Shop by collections. It also says you've got a men's and kids collection on here. Cool.
Which does nothing for your niche. If you're trying to be really exclusively women's clothing, that's probably hurting you to have that be one of the first things people see on the site.
Yeah, it's now men's and women's.
Yeah.
We're on the site here on a different screen. The photography looks good.
Yeah.
Like it looks like the
one of the first things I would say from the comment is if you're able to offer free shipping for a limited time, consider not making that a limited time.
No minimum purchase, free ship. Yeah, I would definitely look at that going, why?
Right? Like
even if you have to raise your prices and then offer free shipping all the time, that's the right way to do it.
I think there's a disconnect too in terms of how it's being framed by the merchant versus how it's perceived by consumers. Because if you go back to their comment on Shopify, they're saying their current promotion is free shipping for a limited time. I don't think consumers view that as enticing enough of an offer anymore. They're expecting free shipping.
Yes.
It would be like saying, oh, exclusive promotion for a limited time, you get the thing you're buying. Like that's not, if the consumer just expect it as part of the basic experience, you can't really advertise on that.
No, you can't. It's not strong enough.
Yeah. So like, if you can afford to offer free shipping, I would just consider making that the default. I like that they're advertising that in the header. Like I think that needs to be highly visible.
Yeah, free shipping on all orders, no minimum purchase. Yep.
But they might need other deals. Like they might need other offers to entice new customers to give them a shot, because the free shipping isn't enticing enough on its own.
I look at I'm going to cherry pick here because I don't know how this works on all the products.
Sure.
I'm looking at a product right now that was just on your homepage. You're using an app to say, there were 10 sold in the last 15 hours. There were 10 sold in the last 15 hours. I don't have a single review. Now, I'm not expecting those 10 to have posted a review because they probably haven't got that product in 15 hours yet. But I don't have a single review on, and that's one of the key selling features of products online, especially clothing, shoes, clothing. Is the product good from an unbiased source? So great. Can I start getting reviews? I must start getting reviews on products. It's some of the most valuable content you can get. And it's not overly difficult to actually get them. I just need to give some people a prompt. I can incentivize the prompt with something. I can say, leave us a review and you'll get 10% off your... I can do a whole whack ton of things to get that review, because that review will pay off in dividends. That's now your review for life. So must have that. And I would set goals on how many reviews we're actually getting a month. We need a ton of them. An endless supply.
Yeah.
Footwear. Like, running shoes. You're selling running shoes, and if these running shoes don't have There are no reviews. So like I definitely need to get a bunch of reviews on this. You've got entire collections, running shoes. The entire collection is sold out. Not a great user experience. Now that doesn't help your initial problem of getting people to the site already.
No, I feel you're like a little in the weeds now.
Yeah, reaching out for advice, better market my store. Take a look at the Facebook ads. Oh, okay, great. That's.
Oh, it's a screenshot of like the actual ads performance.
Oh, here we go.
That's like wild that someone is sharing that much information through the Shopify.
Yeah.
forums.
Yeah. Free shipping now. Empire World Wardrobe 22. Free shipping. Great. So I think the call to action could be better because there's a lot of people like the free shipping is not a strong enough call to action. Why do I want the clothes? What makes the clothes good? Because if I'm trying to just compete on cheap, that's a like, oh, if this stuff is just free, perfect fits, free on every order, like it's you are competing against some giants out there that do cheap really well. So why are my products good? Tired of ill-fitting clothes and expensive shipping? Free shipping on every order. Yeah, I want to know why my clothes are good. So your value proposition. What is the value proposition? The value proposition should help you actually start building brand visibility and driving more traffic. You need to be known for something. Free shipping is not good to Amazon. Has got you slam dunk on free shipping. That's not a competitive advantage. Any tips on social media, email marketing, or even offline tactics? If I'm selling clothes to women, where do women go for clothing? Audience more effectively. I'd love to hear them. So yeah, I really wouldn't be looking for like beyond using the review app solution better. I would not be looking for an app to solve this problem. Yeah, I'm reading some of the other.
Well, yeah, the first, I mean, like the first comment in that thread is just someone trying to advertise their app. Which is like, that's not even a real response. Yeah. I'm proud of you for not giving up. Yeah, I love that.
Klaviyo is an app that we'd recommend. So like that's your email marketing app. I don't know how big their lists are there. But again, I would be making those emails not super salesy. I'm going to be talking about why we're doing these things, how we're sourcing our product, what do we want to be known for. Not just a coupon. This is not just like I want less junky emails, big time. Depending on how big the email list is, there can be some growth strategies around building those email lists out.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at their social media, because that's if I cannot find your social media on your website, there's another problem there. Oh, did I miss it? Maybe I missed it. Just on your Instagram. 673 followers. We need way more. We need way more.
But again, like,
yeah. So they're
only if you're good at Instagram.
Yeah.
And like passionate about the program or have unlimited budget to hire someone who is to do it. Like it's my issue with the Instagram and both their Facebook ads so far is that it's all just kind of generic. Yes. I don't feel they've done anything to build an identity, and so they're going to struggle. Yeah. And this is something we see a lot, especially with drop shippers, is new merchants try to start an online store and then just think that like by putting content and ads out there, the traffic will come in. But like every single one of those posts on the Instagram is just a picture of the product.
Yeah.
It's probably not even their picture. They're probably reselling photography like from whoever their suppliers are. Yeah. No one's going to follow that on Instagram. No one's going to be interested in these products because there's no hook. There's no identity to it. They're not. Like they're
It's
not.
just an ad. There's no social.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
And that's part of the challenge around social media. People want to consume good content.
Yeah. The small businesses we see doing really well on social, the owner is really, really involved in creating the content.
In camera,
Yeah.
in view. I can build a relationship around that. And you've probably seen this in real life when the chef or the restaurant owner or the barber or whoever it is, when they make a point of coming to say hi to you, it makes your experience so much better.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, if you can get in front of the camera, it's almost a necessity.
Now, it sounds like the owner of this particular store is open to that, because in their post they said, I'm looking for strategies to increase engagement and start more conversations with potential customers, both online and offline.
Yeah, so that's great.
Right? So they're looking for ways to connect to their audience.
Yeah. So yeah, get in front of it. Start talking to them. Because right now we're literally just putting product in front of people, and it's just an ad. You've turned your social media account into just ads.
Yeah.
And you can tell right from the engagement, it's extremely low.
Which is like something we struggle to get traditional business owners to move away from.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people just want to be pushing all advertising content all the time. And
Gotta be a mix.
unless your products are like really, really
Killer.
exclusive and enticing,
Yeah.
right? Like if you've got the greatest product, like if you were the only person offering the iPhone, you can do whatever you want in your ads.
Because everyone wants that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? The product speaks for itself. But when you're selling clothing and you're competing with everyone else in the world who's selling clothing, like from just these pictures of clothing, what is there to tell me that sets these products apart from what I could go find in a department store? I don't know. Maybe there's maybe they're the best clothes in the world. Maybe the fabrics are amazing quality. Maybe they were designed by fantastic fashion designers. I just have no idea, because all I'm seeing on the website and on the social media channel is pictures of the clothing over and over.
They have some reels, but like again, I want the owner to come out and say, here's why we stand behind this collection. It's X, it's Y, it's Z. It's really important. Feel this.
Well, even when you look at the reels, though,
most of it is. There's only a few.
We're seeing, and it's like collages of product shots, which we see all the time. It's the typical like, we know we need to do reels, but we actually don't have any content to do reels.
But we're actually not doing video.
Right?
We're doing a slideshow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the messaging is new arrival available now on the website. If people are like waiting with bated breath for your new arrivals and they're available now, you can kind of get away with that. But when you're trying to attract a new audience who's not aware of your product, which is primarily what social media is for, it's going to be really tricky.
Yeah.
And like it's easier if your product niche is more established as well. So like there are clothing stores out there that sell nerdy clothes, nerdy clothing prints.
Yes.
Where you can get like a dress with dinosaurs on it. It's way easier for that product to speak for itself on social media, because there's an audience that's going to see that and their eyes are going to light up.
Yeah. That audience is going to be small but impactful.
Right.
That's what you want.
Look at like Ruggables with their like Star Wars themed rugs.
Yeah, love them.
Those are
Love it. It's the only rug I want.
And all they have to do, and they do more than this, but all they have to do is post a picture of a Star Wars themed rug, and people are going to want that rug because it's Star Wars.
Because the people are already hooked on the Star Wars franchise.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, cool, that's awesome, great. The Ruggables didn't do anything particularly amazing.
Well,
They're partnered, but they took a niche that they knew was already popular. They brought it into their world, which is a rug, and then they introduced it to a Star Wars audience, saying, "Did you even know that there was Star Wars themed rugs?" And they probably said,
"I will say, I want to give them credit because the product itself does also have differences." From
yes,
a
you can
typical
wash
rug,
them,
right? Because they've got like, and
it's a good rug,
and we know that you can wash them because they tell us that in their advertising, right? So they've built an identity and some information around the product they're selling, and they've pushed that information out into the world of consumers. People gravitated towards it, and they became a well-known brand. When you're trying to just sell off-the-shelf products on Shopify, it's really, really challenging. Either the product needs to have a strong identity, or you as the owner needs to have a really strong identity. And if you're not showing either of those things off in your marketing, you're not going to grab people's attentions. Which is why I like that this owner is saying, they're interested in engaging. They're interested in creating engagement offline. The fact that if they just said online, I'd be like, well, where's the identity of this business?
Yeah.
But because they're saying offline as well, I go, okay, that owner's not afraid to go and talk to people.
Love it.
So I'd like to see them doing that. It's old school, but there's nothing wrong with going and attending local markets.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Right? Starting to build a local audience of people who have seen the product in person.
That can leave a review, that can make a purchase,
Yeah.
that will touch and feel the fabric, that will actually, the trust has to start with something. If it's an online-only brand, the challenges are just... Yeah. And again, there's if you were an online-only brand, and that's all you could do, that's it. You weren't able to do it anymore. We would say, well, then you have to do more. You have to give more resources back. You need product video on your website. You need to show off this product in more detail. You need to supplement the fact that someone can't go and pick this up and feel it for themselves. I need to give them more, because now they only have the sense of sight. That's it. And if I was in a store, I would have smell, I'd have touch, I'd have sight. I'd be able to ask you in real time. I have so many more advantages I'd be able to put it on.
Yep.
So if you can't do that, I've got to give more in different ways. And typically the stores, like the bigger stores that are selling products, most of them do have product video. They do have a bunch of reviews. They are putting out great email content. Maybe their owners aren't in their social media, but they're doing really crecreative things.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the owner. It has to be a face that people can get attached to.
Yeah.
Now that can be tricky though. If you're a small company and you're not the face of your product,
there's risk there.
There's a huge risk there, right? Because your audience is going to get attached to that person instead of you.
Yeah.
I ran into this back when I was running my video game lounge. I had an audience that got really attached to the host for some of the tournaments I was running. And so I got concerned that if that person moved to another competing store, all of that audience was going to go with them. Yeah. So what I ended up doing was I just cycled the shifts, and I mixed up how many tournament organizers I had, and I tried to shore up that weakness by mixing it up so that people would associate that event with the venue rather than the individual person.
You got it.
And having a variety of good hosts, and that was a weakness for the company. If you're trying to build your brand around a person, it's best for that person to be one of the owners.
It is.
But it's a ton of work. And this is why when people talk about the free solutions of social media and blogging and you name it, well, the actual cost of those solutions can be pretty expensive.
Big time. Do we have another one here? I know that was a long answer.
Yeah.
Which is good. Second here.
I think we're about ready to wrap this up.
I think we are. An hour and 45 minutes in. I think we can. If you have questions in the future, you can always reach out to us. We'll throw some contact details in the thread, the main thread of this AMA. We'll do a recap summary.
My contact details are in my
every single
signature,
post.
So every single answer has an email address you can reach me at.
Yep, I'd love to. We're definitely open for that. If anything else comes up in the future, this won't be the last AMA we do with Shopify. We like them quite a bit.
Yep.
Final thoughts.
If you liked our answers today, you've got more specific questions that you would like answers to, you'd like to have a one-on-one with our agency, I would encourage you to book a free strategy session with one of our experts. We'll take the time to get to know your business, develop a plan that makes sense for you, and answer your burning questions so that you can move forward with confidence and clarity. If that sounds impactful, book a strategy session, which you can do with us through our website, 2h.media. And in the meantime, thank you for joining us. It's been very fun hanging out on the Shopify forums with you today.
Thank you. Take care.